You're listening to Spanners on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, and I'm in a shed.
In the shed with the best of the net.
Spanners ready.
And joining me is the creator of that jingle. It's music man Liam Taylor. Hi, Liam.
Hey, Spanners, how's it going?
Yeah, very good. I'm glad you're feeling better. You were meant to join me on the bank holiday.
Oh, man, yeah. It all went a bit wrong. Yeah, I got sick immediately at the start of half term, so I basically just spent 8 days in bed. I saw sunshine for the first time about 3 days ago. It was really weird.
And of course, it's all the more impactful for someone like you who is a freelancer for a lot of their working life. So when you're ill, no one is going to pick up the pieces for you. It's all on you.
All comes down to me, and I find that I spend a lot of my time playing catch up from the last time I was sick, or I don't know, I foolishly decided to take a weekend off or something, so I'm perpetually doing this stupid catch-up game with my own schedule.
And the reason that you are in that loop is because you are one of these brave, heroic, foolish people who has turned their love and their hobby and their passion into part of their revenue stream and part of their job.
I mean, it's an even cooler situation for me, just to brag, because actually I do have a day job, but my day job, I wouldn't have that if I wasn't involved in music, if I hadn't been making stuff for the last 10, 20 years anyway. So I'm lucky to have a music education job that's at least sometimes tangentially related to music, but it is pretty much always related to creativity in some way. So yeah, I've lucked out in that regard. But yeah, all of it is music related, all of my income.
So that's what we're talking about today, is basically following your passions and turning your hobby into part of your income, a supplementary income, or maybe even your full-time career. Because we have our passions, we have our hobbies, but people don't generally go to university to study to do their hobby. They go to school or they do an apprenticeship to get a solid job, because we're told you have to be sensible, you have to get a mortgage, you have to make sure you've got a good pension lined up. But every now and then, people have a hobby that starts to build. They realise they've got a bit of a knack for it. And every now and then, you can turn that into, not rock star wages, but something that can form part of your income. A big hurdle, though, is, Liam, for someone like you, you have to say to yourself at some point, hey, I'm actually good enough to do this for money. And that's quite a big hurdle for some people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a huge one. And have you ever heard of this thing, imposter syndrome?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
As we know, issues of mental health and workload are becoming ever more prevalent in the media at the moment, which is a great thing. And one of the things that comes up quite a lot with the creative industries is imposter syndrome. And that's basically where you don't think you're good enough. You think you've somehow conned your way into an excellent job and that you're not deserving. So I'm not pointing any fingers there, Spanners, don't worry. So
ouch.
Sorry. That is something that I deal with daily. I will usually go through a half hour to an hour phase of, I shouldn't be doing this. What am I doing? I'm such a liar. So I think the biggest hurdle is being able to just accept that you're never going to feel qualified.
No, that imposter syndrome is real, especially when you are, putting yourself out on a microphone to the public and you think, well, why me? Why not anyone else? This is ridiculous. Yeah. It's a little bit better in this scenario because I'm hired by the station. So that's quite a bit of validation. But for example, with the podcasting and live streaming I do, and then you put that on the internet and you beg everyone to watch it, subscribe, support you on Patreon, there's that doubt in your mind. You're going, who am I? Who am I to ask people to support this, to watch this? So yeah, imposter syndrome is really real. And I bet there's a lot of people out there who were good enough and just assumed that they weren't, or they look at other people that they admire and go, well, they're so much better than what I'm doing.
The big thing really is, if you're passionate about something, that's basically all the qualification you need. You don't even need to necessarily be knowledgeable about a specific subject to make money from it, as long as you've got the passion to keep trying it. And most crucially, when it really does become work, you still have the passion to push through the crummy work aspect of it.
So that, I think, gets to the essence of what a lot of musicians face, which is the difference between a hobbying band for the passion and a working band that's going to go out and make money. So if you were doing it just for the passion of it, you might say, well, I'm not feeling it right now. But when something has to come out, you have to have a different approach. So for a musician, where it's all about creativity, how does that work? Hobbying band versus working band?
It's like you say, it really comes down to who the target audience is. If you're doing music because you like doing it for your own enjoyment or for the enjoyment of being on a stage with your friends, then that's great. There's no reason to push that any further. It's when you have to start making money from it, you then need to make sure that you can make money. You can write music that an audience will like rather than necessarily you will like.
You obviously review a lot of up-and-coming bands via SPLetsPlay.com. So do you ever see the difference between enthusiastic young bands coming up full of passion and maybe slightly off the wall ideas, and you identify, yeah, they're good, but then you see them go into that phase where they then need to adapt to go into a bar and have, or maybe have a wedding, hire them to do the job, and they go, oh, well, you can't be fully free to do exactly what you want because now there's a paycheck attached to it.
Oh yeah, it's interesting actually. I was looking at this the other day. There's two sources that I get new bands to write about. One is Twitter. I put out a call every few months, say, I need bands to write about, send me your links. And the other one is emails from press companies. The press companies will always send me really polished, really excellent music that is very occasionally a little bit soulless because it's so overproduced. And the Twitter stuff is just weird, just really passionate, a lot of the times just bonkers, off the wall. And it is interesting how sometimes if you're really trying to harness the power of music and do something proper professional, it kind of loses a little bit of the soul along the way.
Yes, quite. Can you maintain your passion, your artistic integrity, even when your hobby has become part of your income? We'll explore more with Liam Taylor from SPLetsPlay.com after this. You're listening to Spanners on BBC Radio Cambridgeshire, and I'm still in a shed.
In the shed with the best of the net.
Spanners ready.
And I'm joined by guitarist Liam Taylor, soundscaper, audio producer. What else do you do, Liam?
Oh, a podcaster. I do the Conversation App podcast. I do a little bit of filmmaking with my company, Odd Creative. We do little bits of commercial shoots. I do a little bit of voiceover whenever I can get it. Anything audio related, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's a good podcast. Now, I hear there was one particularly funny episode with a local radio presenter. So search for the Conversation Hat and Spanners Ready and see if you can find that. But today we're talking about turning your passion into part of your income, or taking the full leap and making your hobby your full-time career. The dream is to be doing the 9 to 5 at home, doing what you love, versus being in the office. And you've got to become your own whipmaster. So how do you deal with that? Because I'm a very lenient boss when I'm working from home. I can have as many breaks as I want.
This is when you read about people's like creative freelance days, it's always about like, oh, I took an inspirational walk in the park, then I made a smoothie, then I went to the gym, then I had breakfast with my family. No, most of it is, oh, I forgot to file that form. I forgot to send off that invoice. Why is this person yelling at me over email? Most of it is admin or trying to acquire work.
So we're in this creative space now. Let's say we're getting some money in. There's often with new jobs, like a regret that sets in after a few weeks where you go, oh, I now have to do this for an extended period of time. Do you think people that convert to their hobbies sometimes go, oh, do you know what? I don't actually enjoy this as much as I thought. A little ice cream was good. Ice cream every day makes me feel a bit sick.
It's like buyer's remorse, isn't it? Why did I choose to do this? Why have I choose to take in this huge financial burden? Something that I found really important is making sure that the passion side of it stays alive. I've got a really busy period at work. We've had exams, or the creative exams and performances. We've got loads more performances. And I sort of thought, I'm not going to have a chance to actually make music for the joy of making it for a good couple months. So what I'm doing this weekend is I'm sitting down in the studio with a good friend and songwriter, and we're just going to write an EP, a 5-track, and whatever we have Monday morning is going to get released, which is crazy challenging and a bit scary, but that kind of thing will really make you think and really keep the passion alive.
And you touched upon what most people will go through when they're trying to build a hobby outside of their main job, because not very many people have the resources or are brave enough to go, right, I'm going to dump my job today, get rid of all my income and start from zero. The reality is most people who will turn their passions like presenting or music or even like trading on eBay, things like that, it will start to eat up your free time, more and more of it. And it fills in all the little spots all around your regular job as well. And in order to really have a good launching point into these hobbies, you effectively have to spend a period working 2 jobs.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way to sugarcoat that. You will absolutely basically have to work 2 jobs, even if it's a part-time job and a full-time job. Just don't expect to see any of your family for an extended period, basically. That's just the reality. Unless you're really lucky, which you won't be.
So you have to kind of get the buy-in as well from your family and partner and from your kids if they're going to be understanding that daddy's going to be holed up in the shed for a little bit longer. It's kind of a team effort.
I think one of the things that really will sway your family or your friends or anyone that's going to be judgmental about you following your passion, how dare you, is just put a time limit on it. Say, I'm going to do this for 2 years. We've got the finances. And then if it doesn't work after 2 years, I'll just go work at a supermarket or I'll get my old desk job back. I'll just do whatever to try and make back that time. It's all about compromise in relationships, isn't it?
Yeah,
this.
Building up a war chest, actually, I guess that's a good tip for people, because we do feel tied to our wages, because you have the drumbeat of wage in, mortgage out, bills out. So it's very scary to have the bills out bit without the wage in. So yeah, it is kind of worth looking. People can happily save 4 or 5 grand for a holiday. I know a lot of people who do that. So why not save for a war chest? And that's like, I don't know, 6 months of mortgages and groceries. I don't know. I haven't done the maths in my head. Please don't. I don't know if I'm making myself look cash money or very, very poor there. But yeah, a war chest is a kind of a sensible idea. So how close are you, Liam, to being free of the man?
I kind of feel like I am, because I have a day job that I actually like.
And it's involved with your passion as well.
And yeah, exactly.
Speaking of passion, you are at LT Guitarist on Twitter, and on YouTube, you are Liam Taylor Guitar, and one of 57 Liam Taylor guitars.
There's so many of us. I recently got added to a WhatsApp group of Liam Taylors from all over the UK. We were going to meet up, but then I don't think we'd come up with a naming system that would work.
What do you do on your YouTube channel, Liam?
Oh, all sorts. So it's mostly revolves around guitar, as the name implies. So tips and tricks for playing. Often it's professional advice. So how to further your career, how does Twitter work, that kind of thing. I've recently been doing a lot of Simpsons remixes. That's just where my creative impulse has been. So if you want to see your favorite Simpsons episodes remixed into second-rate electronic music, that's the place to be. Or if you just want to learn about composition, I'm covering it all.
That's Liam Taylor at LT Guitarist on Twitter. Thank you so much for sparing your time to help us follow our dreams, Liam.
Oh man, not at all. Thanks for having me.
And we'll get you in studio soon to teach me some kind of instrument.
Yes, please. I'm looking forward to it.